In this video, I'm going to show you how to save thousands of dollars at the dealership with or without employee pricing. And we're also going to discuss, is this actually a good deal? Ford and Stellantis released their employee pricing for everyone. I think a lot of people think that this is the best deal they can get, and it's just not true. I'm going to show you through email how to save thousands of dollars in just a couple of minutes. And I think the best way to show you is, well, with an example. Let's start with an F-150. This is a perfect way to show you how I would walk through one of these deals and how I would still try to negotiate even if I was getting employee pricing. Now, the most important thing when you're working a new car deal especially is you need to find invoice pricing, or at least what the bottom dollar price is that the dealer is going to sell it for. There is a good way to do this. So I'm going to work through this deal and show you how I would work it. I actually emailed this dealer a few times. I'm going to show you the exchanges that I had with them and how you can just instantly get a couple $1,000s off just by requesting things be removed from the price. Now, this is admittedly already a pretty decent price, and I'm going to show you why. So this is a 2024 F-150 XLT. It's a leftover, obviously, not a 2025. $64,490 MSRP. They have $7,000 off already, and then $2,000 in Ford rebates, bringing it down to $56,134. Now, a big reason why this is priced so high for an XLT is because it has the 3.5-liter EcoBoost, it has the 302A mid group, and it's got FX4 off-road package. So it's pretty well equipped for an XLT. So because this is priced so low, I just want to see how far under invoice are they? I know that this truck is probably under invoice. I'm going to use the sponsor of this video, CarEdge, and they have invoice pricing that's free. So we're going to go to their website and I'm going to show you how to use that. Link in the description below. Now, full disclosure, they do want your email address in order to use this feature, but they do pay for the data. So we're going to select Ford here, F-150. We're going to enter our email. Now, since this is a 2024, we're going to click 2024 up here in the top left, and then scroll down to the trims. Now, as you can see here, this confuses some people when you're looking at invoice pricing and you're trying to figure out why the MSRP price of the vehicle you're looking at is higher than what you see here. That's because of the different options. So in this case, a 2024 F-150 XLT, the MSRP is $47,730. So there's a drastic difference because the one we looked at has four-wheel drive, it has a bigger engine, and a lot more options than what this XLT does. But you don't need to worry about any of that. We're just trying to figure out the percentage difference between $47,730 here and the invoice price, which is $44,628. Now, we're not going to get too crazy, but $44,628 is about 6.5% less than $47,730. So we're going to go see if this deal on Ford's website is close to that percentage. So specifically on this XLT, it's about 12.95% less than the original MSRP. So the original was $64,490. Longmont Ford's price is $56,134. But I'm going to try to get even a little bit more off of that because I still don't think that's a great deal for an XLT. But the good news is, because I used CarEdge's invoice pricing, I can still figure out the percentage difference and I can determine if this is actually a good deal or not. Now, a lot of cars, you're not going to see this much off of them originally. The reason this is really a pretty good deal is because it's a 2024, so they're discounting it pretty heavily. We'll do some other examples here in a minute, and I'll show you how they're a little bit closer to what I see in invoice pricing. Now, the next thing I do is typically email the dealership. I'm not looking to go in yet. I'm just looking to test the waters to see what kind of price this really is. So in your first email to the dealership, especially if they're claiming that they're already at invoice or employee pricing, I just like to reiterate and ask, hey, is this still the best you can do? Just ask the question. Now, notice I say thank you with an exclamation point. You always want to be polite as you can while being direct. You never want to be rude or you're not going to get anywhere with a good deal, trust me. Now, you'll remember the best price on their website was $56,134. And this is the first proposal I got back. You're always going to see this from dealerships. They're going to try to get you with a couple of easy things that you can save $1,000, $1,500 on. So you'll see right here, $7,543 off of $64,490. So the selling price So we're already maybe like $500 lower than they were on the website just by asking. But then you'll see they add in the recover, which is kind of like LoJack. You'll see those fees all the time, and then carefree appearance. Obviously, I don't want to pay $1,500 for things I didn't ask for, so we're going to request those off here in a moment. And then you'll see the government fees and the documentation fee. Typically, those you can't get out of. You're not going to get out of sales tax, so those are pretty standard fees. Now, keep in mind, we're doing all of this through email. It's only taken a couple of minutes of my time. It's much better than doing it in the dealership to get these little nickel and dime fees out of the way. By the time you go into the dealership, you really want to just be kind of in the last stages of negotiation. So this is the email that I sent back to them. I said, thank you, much appreciated. So you start out being nice. And I said, I won't pay for recover, $995. I won't pay for carefree appearance, $499. The processing documentation fee seems high at $795. Can this be reduced? Let me know. If not, I understand. Thank you. Notice I'm being polite in the beginning, polite in the middle and end. I don't want to give them any indication that I'm just some rude, abrasive person. And I want to, tell them, kind of give them the option that, hey, I'm not going to pay for these things. If you can't take them off, that's totally fine. Kind of implying that I will find another dealership if they don't want to remove those. And here's the response they gave me. So they actually responded back and they said, we can remove those 2 accessory fees. They are optional. That was the recover and the appearance package. So within just a minute or so, you can immediately save $1,500. You just have to pay attention to the line items. Most people know that, but there are a lot of folks out there that think they can't remove those fees. So just keep that in mind. Almost everything is negotiable except for taxes and documentation fee. Now they say the documentation fee can't be reduced. It's the same for everyone, including employees. Those are usually a lot tougher to negotiate on, and I'm only going to save a few $100s there, so I'm not going to waste a lot of my time and energy on that. He says, but he looked up the rebates today to verify that everything is correct, and Ford came out with an additional $2,500 in rebates for this truck. So actually, this new proposal we're going to look at is lower. Okay, so now we've got both proposals up on screen here. The one on the right side is actually the new proposal. So you'll see now I've got $3,500 in rebates. The selling price ends up being $53,447. I've just got my government fees, taxes, and documentation fees. So the total balance, even after taxes, is $59,424 on this truck. Previously, it was $63,548. So just you can see the dates on the top here. April 10th, I started this at 9 a.m. I was working. I did some back and forth with them. And then boom, at noon, I'm already, $3,000 richer in this deal just because I was nice. I asked for things and they gave me the things I asked for. It's really that simple. So even on a seemingly already good deal from Ford, I'm getting a better deal. I'm not spending another $3,000 of my money. That's just money in my pocket, less negative equity when I trade this truck in 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years if I buy the truck. But let's go through another example. All right, let's jump to the next example here. A 2025 GMC Sierra Elevation 1500, $65,000. They're claiming they've discounted this $2,750 already. Now it does have the Duramax here, so that's going to be a big upcharge. The Duramax with the 10-speed, because that's one of the best engines they have in this truck. And I am in Colorado, so almost everything is 4-wheel drive here. Does have leather and some other nice features. Now, again, remember, the first thing you want to do on a new car, you want to find the invoice price. That is your baseline. That gives you the confidence to negotiate. Going to go to CarEdge's website, type GMC 1500, and this is a 2025. So right here, CarEdge says the 2025 GMC Sierra 1500 MSRP is $56,700. And the invoice is $53,335. Now remember, this is just before all of the options. So it's before Duramax is added and all the other features on the truck, but we're going to do it just based on the percentage. So in this case, $53,355, it's about 5.9% less. So we can kind of assume that any of these Elevation 4-wheel drives are going to be almost 6% less if we're getting invoice pricing on them. So in this scenario for this General Motors, they're only about 3.2% lower than MSRP. And I know that invoice should be about 6% lower. So this truck should be about $63,200. If you just take 6% off of the 67,222 MSRP, that's roughly $63,000. So now in this scenario, just getting invoice pricing from CarEdge's website has given me some confidence of a starting value. Now I can go into the dealership or I can email them with this information and I can say, look, there's no way I'm paying more than $63,000 for this truck. No way, under no circumstance. And I would probably even be looking for a little bit more than that. Now in this example, if you use a website like cars.com, they actually track the price history even over like 300 or 400 days. In this case, they just got this truck in on April 10th. So in this scenario, it's probably going to be tougher to get this dealership to budge on this specific truck. However, there are other Duramaxes that I can get for a lot less. So you do want to pay attention. If they're not willing to budge on this truck because they just got it, that's fine. Move on to the next dealer. Don't waste your time. And so I expanded my search. I want to compare that GMC that I just looked at, find one with pretty much identical options. Now this one, MSRP is actually a little higher than that black one we just looked at, $68,295. They're selling it for $63,545. But look at this. See, this is where that price history comes in, and of course, days on lot. Look at this. This dealership got this 2025 back in November of 2024. Now they've kind of pump and dump the price. If you look here, the lowest price we saw on this was actually back in February and March, $61,545. It didn't sell. So what do? They raised the price up to $64,000 just to lower it again to $63,545. So the actual lowest price here, it's lower than what CarEdge says invoice should be, especially based on the percentage. This is a higher percentage off than what we see between the normal delta between MSRP and invoice. So if I was going into this truck deal, I would not be giving them $63,545, even though that's really close to invoice. I'd be saying, well, heck, if you were willing to sell that at $61,545 just a day or two ago or whenever it was, then you should be willing to sell it at that price now. I will add links to the CarEdge invoice pricing. It is free. They do ask for your email. Links in the description and the comment below. Be sure to always look at your price history. You want to see when that vehicle got on the lot, and you want to see if they've actually had it at a lower price, even though they might be discounting it. Use a website like cars.com if you can. Now I know what you're thinking. If you're wondering what to do next after you go into the dealership, click on this video and you'll find everything you need to know. Thanks for watching. Till next time.